All right, guys. So in about 1 to 2 days, just depending on what part of the globe you are in, we are going to be getting two new banners. We are going to be getting the Season 1 and 2 relaunch banner, and we are also going to be getting the Third Eye Hateful Fauna banner, which I have been waiting for. I really like this character. We'll review her kit and stuff here in a minute and talk about whether or not you actually want to summon on her as a free-to-play dolphin or whale or player, you know, just depending on where you're at in the game. But let's talk about the Season 1 and 2 banner first, because I find this really interesting. So this will be starting on March 21st, and it will go up until April 4th, and this will actually go into the next season, which is interesting. Okay, so we'll actually have the next seasonal banner, I think, starting on April 1st, so that's kind of interesting. And so what's going to happen during this event, or this relaunch, and they spelled relaunch wrong, by the way, I just have to point that out, but what's going to be happening during this relaunch is you're going to be able to select 3 out of the 6 seasonal mages from seasons 1 and 2 as the mages with increased summoning rates first after selection. Both the mages and their skill pages will have increased rates. And so this is a little bit different from JP. When JP originally did the rerun banners, I believe you could select one mage and skill page, and that let people like chase max dupes on a mage slash skill page of their choice. Now it's going to be a little bit harder to chase max dupes. This kind of limits the whales a little bit more, honestly, or maybe it helps them if they want to get 3 different characters. But like now you have the percentage of like what you're going to pull split between 3 characters, so it's a little bit harder to pull specifically for what you're looking for. However, on the other hand, I look at this as a great opportunity for newer players to potentially pull the characters they want. And it gets even better because mages with increased rates may be reselected once daily. The count of guaranteed summon will not reset upon reselection, but will continue to accumulate. So let's say on day 1, you pull the 3 characters that you picked. If you picked like Season 2 Noelle with the barriers, you picked Yami, and you picked Clover Academy Asta. You pulled all 3 of them. Well, day 2, you can switch it to the 3 other characters and potentially pull them. So that's really nice, and I like that idea, especially for newer players. So I feel like this is definitely a banner made to help newer players get those units they might have missed in the past. I know I've definitely seen people come into the game and be like, I hate this, I can't keep up with the meta, I don't have the characters I need, when will these banners rerun? Well, this is your first rerun of seasons 1 and 2, which is great, okay? And we'll talk about what these characters can do, and we'll talk about kind of what I think your priority should be out of these 6 characters that you should be pulling for. So let's go ahead and do that. So here in the glossary, we have those 6 mages. One of them is this Charmy right here. It is also this Clover Academy Mimosa. You also have Clover Academy Yami. You have the Swimsuit Ghost. You have Clover Academy Asta, not to be confused with Black Asta. Black Asta is not rerunning yet. And then you also have Swimsuit Noelle as your kind of choices. So in terms of like priority choices, I do think this Charmy is really good. I think she is like your #1 choice because she gives defense, she gives healing. She's just a really good continuous healer over time. Insanely good unit, and if you can get extra dupes in her, she becomes way better. So I actually really like this Charmy. I myself might actually pull in this banner to maybe try to get 1 or 2 more copies of this Charmy. I think I have this Charmy with 1 dupe right now, so if I can get her to 2 dupes, I would be happy with that. So I really like this Charmy. She would probably be priority #1, especially for new players, as well as like I would say older players. Maybe getting her max duped out if you can is probably a pretty decent play. I would also then second go for Ghost. Ghost, you don't need to max dupe him, but at least getting a copy of him if you don't have him, I think is beneficial because he is really good as a buffer, especially when you're trying to take on PvE content like Beetle Gigas or something like that, or squad bosses or anything like that. He can buff the nukers and give them a good chance to actually do their nuking job, especially if you're missing other buffing characters. Maybe you're missing William, maybe you're missing Sally. He is a good replacement for some of those characters, so he would be my second option. My third option would be Mimosa here. I would choose to get her because her revive is insanely good. To this day, she still has a spot in PvP. I'm not going to say she's meta, but you could run her in PvP and make use of her. She's always going to be good in PvE, though, because of her revive. She's just a really good overall healer. Healers are always going to be pretty good, and as far as healers go, I feel like these two are really pretty insane and pretty good. And then my fourth option after Mimosa would probably be this Noelle. This Noelle I really like to this day, and some people I could see people just saying, forget those 3 I just talked about, I'm going for Noelle, because she was meta for so long. People missed out on that meta, and they're like, okay, I saw how good she was, I really want her. She's still good. I wouldn't say she's as good as she used to be, so keep that in mind, especially if you're trying to take her into PvP, but she is still a decent character. But I think you'll find a lot of uses with her in PvE currently. And then as for my 5th and 6th recommendations out of Clover Academy, Asta, and Yami, I mean, you can choose which one you want to be 5th and 6th. I'd say they're about on par with each other, but in terms of overall DPS, they are good, but there's just better characters nowadays that do more damage than them. So I mean, like, I don't know. You can go for whoever you want. I have used both. I used Yami specifically on JP a lot when the game first came out, and I've used Clover Academy Asta a lot on my global account. I think they're both very good characters. They both do a pretty good amount of damage. I mean, just choose what you want from there. But once again, my overall recommendation, get Charmy first, then Ghost, then Mimosa, then Noelle, and then Yami or Asta, whichever one you're feeling like you want. But yeah, that's the rerun banner. I'm super excited for that. I will probably pull on that myself. Let me know if you guys are going to pull on that rerun banner. And let's take a look at Fauna. So Fauna is actually going to have 3 banners starting on March 21st. She's going to have the, I shouldn't say free banner, but like the banner that everybody can summon on. She's also going to have a premium Black Crystal Step Up banner for the character, and then a premium Black Crystal Step Up banner for her skill page. Okay, so as far as the skill page goes, it's not really, it's not necessary, okay? Like, just pull on the character. If you get the character, you're good. You can definitely run other skill pages on her. If you are a whale, then you might want to do the premium step up. I don't know. It's up to you, really. But, like, as far as light spenders go, as far as free-to-play players go, or not free-to-play because you're not free-to-play if you're spending on this, but light spenders go, you know, I would just go for the premium Black Crystal step up on the character, not worry too much about the premium Black Crystal step up on the skill page. And then, of course, free-to-play here, you're going to be summoning on just the normal rate-up banner and hoping that you get either her or her skill page or both, right? Now, do I think this character is worth summoning on? I think she's actually really good if you're trying to run a mono green team. Now, if you're not trying to run a mono green team, I wouldn't worry too much about pulling for her. You know, you can probably skip on this banner and you'll be okay. I will say, however, though, when Meryl comes out, I think she works very well with Meryl potentially. She's just an overall, I think, decent character as a general pool unit. But then again, keep in mind, general pool unit could pull her later. So in general, when it comes to gacha games like this, if you are a free-to-play player, general pool units, you should probably be skipping. So just keep that in mind. But as far as general pool units go, I would like to say I think this Fauna is very, very good. But don't just take my word for it. Let's take a look at her kit really quickly. So Fauna's passive for getting her to LR is if all allies have the Sense attribute, grants status ailment immunity to all allies for 1 turn at the start of battle. Like, that's automatically really good for the green team, right? And then when you think about that she's a green character, if you put her with the new Charlotte, right, it's going to kind of go crazy. Those two together work really, really well. And then for her enhanced passive, if you are able to dupe her out at enhancement level 2, meaning you have 2 dupes into her, if hatred stacks 5 times, own HP is set to 1%, which sounds bad, but it's really not, of max HP, and grants self immortality for 1 turn at the end of a wave, grants 50% of max HP as HP recovery. So the interesting thing about this is basically by the time you get 5 stacks, you've already gone a few turns into the battle. You might already be low on health, so it's not taking you typically from like 100% health down to 1% health. It's going to take you from like 30% down to 1%, and it gives you immortality. So it's like, it's not terrible, and it's really not all that bad. And then over here at the enhanced passive, you get all that same stuff. And then if afflicted with taunt or enhanced taunt, grants self a 50% reduced damage taken buff for 1 turn, does not stack. So basically this is just a way for her to recover her HP, which I think is not terrible overall. And it also gives her reduced damage taken if you're able to enhance her. So like, her enhanced passive is kind of weird, kind of the weirdest part of her kit, but the rest of it all really, really good. I really like this part where you're able to get status element immunity. As for her skill 1, it is called Harpy, and it applies 1 instance of hatred to self. Attacks after granting a 35% increased damage dealt buff if the enemy has an active taunt. That's pretty good. Her skill 2 is an AoE attack, applies 2 instances of hatred to self, inflicts burn on an enemy, dealing continuous damage for 2 turns. So that's pretty good. AoE, guaranteed burn with 2 instances of hatred. So it would take you at least 2 turns right there to get 3 instances of hatred, right? And to get the 5 instances of hatred, it would take you, what, 5 turns? It takes you 5 turns to get the 5 instances of hatred. So it does actually take you a few turns into the battle for this to actually even happen. And then for this skill right here, this is kind of her bread and butter. This is what makes her really, really good. This is the best AoE attack in the game right now with the most damage, so keep that in mind. And that's what makes Fauna like so insane on the mono green team. So what she's going to do is she's going to inflict barrier removal on 1 random ally. That kind of sucks, but like, it's not terrible, especially considering you will have potentially Green Charlotte on your team who can potentially replace that barrier on that ally depending on who it gets removed from. And then if hatred is not present on self, deals 30% of attack and magic attack as extra damage. So if she has no hatred, she gets automatically an extra 30% attack and magic attack as extra damage. And already she has 150% attack and magic attack as an AoE attack without having the skill upgraded at all. And so that's just going to make her hit really hard, like even turn 1. Now, if you do wait to use her special and you are able to stack up her hatred, she becomes even stronger, because at 5 instances of hatred, she deals 180% of attack and magic attack as damage, which is just absolutely insane. Like that extra damage on top of the damage you're already doing, absolutely nuts. So she has one of the biggest, most ridiculous damaging AoE attacks in the game, making this Fauna very, very good as a general pool unit. So in terms of like, do I think you should summon for her? I do think you should summon for at least 1 copy. I don't think it's worth it necessarily to dupe her out, but like as a light spender, as a whale, definitely summon for at least 1 copy. As far as free to play goes, you know, it is a general pool unit you can skip, but you know, it might not be a terrible idea to toss 1 or 2 summons in and just hope you get lucky. But that's just kind of my recommendation. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and let me know if you guys are going to be summoning for Fauna or not, or you're going to be summoning on the rerun banner. And if you are summoning on the rerun banner, who are you going to summon for? If you guys enjoyed the video, please consider going down there, hitting that like button, hitting that subscribe button, and thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.